So from today onwards, we will start the first project, e-commerce website. So e-commerce is nothing but a web application. Web application means any application that you can open on browser. In our case, I am going to use this example, this website, right? So this is a web application, and we are going to do functional testing. So for web application under functional testing, there are some checklists that we should consider when we create test cases. These are some general checklists. It is not necessary all the checklists is required for writing test cases. Based on the requirement, it will be decided. But these are the general checklists that you will definitely find on any web application. First, it will be used whether it is an HTML or not. The page has which has been designed, it is designed on the basis of HTML or not. Second, you have to validate if there is any drop down, if there are any text boxes, if there are any checkbox, radio buttons, links, combo box inputs. So do you understand all of its meaning, or have you seen all of this thing on any websites? Drop downs must have you must have seen the drop downs, text boxes, right? So these kinds of fields we have to validate. We have to validate like the links. When we click on any link, so it is directing to the desired website. Let's suppose there is any increase the size. Okay. When if there is any link and let's suppose that link will open, let's suppose it will open Flipkart application. Okay. So if you click on this link, then it should open Flipkart application. So this kind of validations also we do. We ensure that proper functioning of email links. If there is an email link and if we click on that link, so it is opening that email page. Validate that there is no any broken links. Broken links means there is a link. When you click on that link, then nothing will happen. No desired page will open. So that is a broken link. So you also have to validate such kinds of links are not available. All the links are redirecting to the desired web page. There are some web forms. Web forms means let's suppose there is a sign up page. There is a create an account page. So those kind of things are known as web forms. In our example, we have currently I have logged in. If I log out, so there is a create an account. If I click on this, so this is a form where you have to provide your all of your details, and you will create an account for that. Okay. Validate the database, like the data that you are. Let's suppose you will enter some data over here, and you will click on this create an account. It will create an account for that. It will register a customer on this application. So also you have to check whether on the database this data are stored or not. So this is not available. This is out of scope. For some of you who haven't chosen the database testing, so for them this will be out of scope. Cookies testing, there is a cookie and privacy policy pages. You must have seen, right? In this page you will see about us, customer service, contact us, write to us, privacy and cookie policies. All these links we also have to verify. Check your websites for appropriate error messages, like your website is displaying any error message or not. In this case, let's suppose this is displaying an error message. Make sure that the required and optional fields are properly handled. If any field is required, then you have to provide the value. If any field is optional, like this one is optional, You can ignore this also. So this kind of things are also handled or not. Counter check the security measures for proper storing of sensitive data. Now this is related to security testing. Security testing means when you are entering any password, so it is coming in this format. Dot 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 star star star. It is not like you are entering an password and that password is displaying. So these are some security measures that also we have to verify when we write test cases or when we test any application. So these are some general things that we test of any web-based application. So on this website, we are going to do the same thing. Okay. Now move on to the our first document. We are going to test Luma web application. This is an e-commerce website where we can do shoppings, right? So for this website, we have already a contract given by the Luma. Let's suppose the Luma is the customer client, which has given to our company a project to build this application and test this application. So we are the testers. So we will only focus on the testing part, right? So in testing part, there are so many phases are there. One is the requirement specification, where we need software. Where in the first phase in software testing life cycle, what is the first phase? Requirement gathering. In the first phase, what we derive customer software requirement specification. Okay. So currently, software requirement specification for this website I am creating. It will take some time because there are so many things on this website. So actually, I didn't get so much time for that. So that I will display you next week. But as of now, we will move on to our next phase. In STLC, what is the next phase? Analysis phase. The STLC. Requirement analysis. We will get the deliverables as software requirement specifications. Now the next phase is test planning. So now we will work on this test planning phase. What we do in the test planning phase, how everything is decided, how the documents are created. Now we will see all these things in today's class. Okay. So now let's suppose in the this application, we are doing this project in waterfall model. So in waterfall model, just imagine a developer has developed all these applications. Whatever the requirement was there, developer has done the development. Now this application is available to us for the testing. Okay. So there will be two types of environment that we discussed in the last class. One will be dev environment. Environment is nothing but URL. You can also say it as dev URL. So development team will do the development on this environment. Let's suppose in the first round of development, it has been decided we will develop 5 modules of the application. Okay. So these five modules, first of all, will be developed on this development environment. So that URL you can only see when if you work on a real project, like in a company. So there you will see there will be development URL. So development only works on that URL. So let's suppose in the first round of development they have developed the five modules and those are available in this dev URL. Now what developer will do? Developer will do unit testing. Now what is unit testing? So since you have opted for the project, so I'm assuming like you know what is unit testing because you have said most of you have said like you know the testing concepts. So you only want to see how we work on a project. So I'm not explaining what is unit testing, but those who are totally new and they have opted the entire course, I will explain unit testing once all the projects will be covered. Once these two projects will be covered, so after that I will take some classes for theoretical of manual testing. Then there you will understand what developer to in the unit testing. Modules is nothing but these sections. This is one module, this is one module, this is one module, this is one module. Sign in, create an account. This is different modules. So either modules or section. Which font size? Document font size, notepad font size I cannot increase. Is it fine? Okay. So now developer will do unit testing. Basically, whatever developer will develop, they will just do a one round of testing from their side, just to check whether whatever they have developed are correct or not. Okay. Now after that, once they will find once they will find that unit testing is passed, everything that they have developed is working fine. So developer will deploy the five modules code in the test environment. Okay, so that same five module they will deploy in the test environment. Now, once it is available in test environment, now testing team can start doing the testing. So testing team will only do the testing on this environment, not in the development environment. Okay, so as of now, we have just got to know in a project there are two types of environment. Apart from that, also there are so many environments that we will one by one discuss. So as of now, we got to know in a project there are two types of environment. One is developer environment, one is tester environment. We as a tester only do the testing in testing environment. Okay. And this kind of testing is known as FST, functional system testing. In the test environment, once the developer will move everything in test environment, then we will start doing our testing. So that is basically known as FST, functional system testing. If you want, you can note down. Okay. So whatever the testing we perform, the initial testing is known as functional testing, functional system testing. The short form is FST. In the project, you will hear this technical term FST so many times. Its meaning is functional system testing. So
So
once
can
when yes,
sorry, can you just tell? Actually, I'm not understanding what is going on.
so when you
Means
have
we are
joined,
not doing. I came long back, but I came little 5-10 minutes late.
that is why you are missing. Nothing, not more, much I have explained. Just I'm explaining like how, uh, like in the first round of development for this website, developers has decided or the business team has decided they want to develop these five models for the first time in the first round of development. So development team will do the development on the development environment for all these five models. Then they will do a unit testing. Once they find like all the five modules which are developed on this environments are working fine, then they will deploy the code in the testing environment, all these five modules, so that testing team can start doing the testing. Okay. So the testing team, when they will start doing the testing, so that testing is known as FST, functional system testing. So if you are testing any application, once if any application is developed very newly and you first time you are doing any testing, so that testing is basically known as FST, functional system testing. Apart from that, there are so many other testing also, but the first testing for any website is known as functional system testing, FST. Okay, so on testing environment, we will do this kind of this testing. If you want, whatever I'm writing on Notepad, you can note down. Okay. So now we have understood we have to do functional testing, but we have this test planning phase. If testing we do, where we do the testing, we start doing the testing in the test execution phase. So this is the fifth step. Before that, first step in is the software requirement part. Second step is the test planning. So first of all, we have to understand what we do in the test planning phase. The test planning phase, we test member doesn't have to do anything in the test planning. Like if you are new to the project, right? So you are not responsible to create any test planning document. This thing will be handled by the test manager and the test lead. They basically create test planning documents. We, those who are junior or those who are freshers, they start their work from this phase, test design phase. This phase is for the test manager or the test lead who has very high experience, like 10 years, 9 years, 8 years. They work in this area. Okay, so in the test planning, first document that we create is the test strategy document. So this document I have created for test strategy. Let's suppose right now I am your test lead. So I have created this test strategy document for this website. So first of all, this is a general template. This one I have opened in WordPad. That is why it is looking like that. If you open this in Word, MS Word, then it will look very good. Okay. I do not have MS Office in my system. That is why I have opened in it is in the WordPad. So first of all, it will have a project name and then the project name and which kind of testing we are going to do. We are doing the front end testing. Front end testing, that means this website. What is back end testing? Database. So anything which is available in backend is known as backend, like database. We cannot see database. What we can see is the website. So that is known as front end. Now this is a test strategy document. Now there is a section called revision history. In revision history, what we do? Let's suppose first time I'm working on this document. So on which date I have created this document. That date I have to provide here. The first version will be version 1.0. Who is creating this document? So I have given my name and what are the things I have done in this first version of documents. That part on a very high level I will put over here. Okay. So as of now, I have decided in the first part we are going to cover create a account, sign in. Then there is a, if you click on sign in, there is a forgot your password link. Then there is search products, then main section, and then add to cart section. This. So in the first version, in the first round of testing, we are going to cover these modules. So that modules I have written over here. Let's suppose once it is completed, then second version of document will be created. So in the second version, which are the modules we are going to pick, that module definitions or the name I will provide you. In this way, it keeps on revision. The first version, if you see the name, this name is different. For my previous batch, I have used this website, so I have written the name as open card. So currently for this, it will be Luma underscore test strategy underscore the date on which date I have created the document and underscore version 1.0. So currently it has a version 1.0. Once these documents will be updated, then we will create, we will not override this document. We will copy and paste this same thing in a different document. That means I will create a new document and I will copy and paste over there, and there we will do the modifications. So there will be version 1.0 and then we will create version 2.0. So we will have version 1.0 also, we will have version 2.0 also. So that if anyone asks like what you have done in version 1.0, so you can open this document and you can give it to them, they will check what you have done. If you override this, then you will not have such backup for the future. That is why we create different versions of the document. In every version, what we do, that part we implement. That is why this revision history is important. Next part is scope, which kind of testing we are doing. So the scope of projects include testing the following features of this application. So that application URL we have to provide. And which kind of features we are testing. So we are testing these features. So these features details we have to provide under the scope. Like what are the things we have decided to keep in the scope. So under the scope, there is inclusions. Inclusions means what we are including for our first round of testing that we will update it. Okay. So this for the first version we are implementing, we are including these modules for testing. And here we have to provide the URL. All these documents again I'm saying it will be created by test manager or test lead. You guys do not have to create, but you can just get an understanding. What are the if anyone asks you what you can see or what are the details you can see in a test strategy document. So you can say these are the sections and these are the details are there in the test strategy documents. Now third section is test approach. Like how you are going to approach your testing, what should be your testing approach? Which kind of testing you are going to do? So that details and what will be the process of your testing. All those details you have to write here. So this part is actually very important in test strategy document. So it has been communicated with Luma. Luma is a client and has understood that we need to perform functional testing of all the functionalities mentioned in the scope section above, like this one, right? Then what will be the testing levels? Firstly, we will perform smoke testing to check whether the different and important functionalities of the application are working. Now, what is smoke testing? Once, if during the first round of testing, if we receive any build, this is also known as build. Once these 5 modules developed by the environment developer team and they deploy this in test environment, so this is known as build. You can say it as first build, or simply we say it as a build. Like we got the build from the development team. Build means deploying the functionalities that they have deployed, that they have developed in the development environment. Now, once the development, no, not modules, modules are not built. 5 modules, development team has done the deployment, development. Now they will deploy the functionalities in the test environment. So this test environment is your build. That URL is the build, right? This is actually known as build. In the second round, they will develop another modules. Then again, that they will deploy in the test environment. So that will be your second build. So this is actually known as build. They will use this kind of terms so that you should be aware of, so that you can explain this is the meaning of build. Okay, so what happens during the first round of testing? You do not have any test cases because this is the first time you are going to start the testing. So if you are first time you are going to start any testing, so you definitely will not have any test cases. So there will not be any, you are not going to do any smoke testing. From the second round of testing, you can start, first of all, you will do the smoke testing, then you will do the functional testing. Now, how this goes on, this I will explain once we start creating the test cases. Then you will understand this first line. So we will start checking whether the functionalities and the applications are working or not. If not working, then we will reject the build. If the smoke testing fails, then we will reject the build. And then we will ask the developer to fix it. Then developer will do the fixing. Then we will receive a stable build again from the developer. And then again we will do smoke testing. And once the smoke testing is passed, then we will start doing the functional testing. Now, what is a smoke testing, functional testing? I know there will be confusion, but everything will be clear once we progress in the class. But this will be the process. Once we receive a stable build which passes the smoke testing, we will perform the depth testing, that is a functional testing. How? By creating the test cases. Now multiple test resources will be testing the same application on multiple supported environments simultaneously. Multiple test resources means employee, person. In a team, there can be 5 testers. So that is why multiple test resources word has been mentioned. They will do the testing of the same application on multiple supported environments, can say, like on different operating system, on different browsers. That can be also done. We are not going to test the application on only one browser. We will test same application on different browsers. So that is why multiple supported environments are mentioned. So this is part of the testing. And now what happens if we found any bugs or defects? So we will report that in a bug tracking tool. And then we will send to the development management the defect that we have found via email. Okay. Now this is for the testing. What we are going to do when we receive any bug or defect. So that explanation on a very high level we will found in the test strategy document. As part of testing, we will perform smoke testing, functional testing. We will repeat test cycle until we get the quality product. That means this testing will keep on repeating until those 5 modules are working as per the requirement. Once the tester found like that 5 modules are working as per the requirement, then we will pass the testing. And but until then, This cycle, this test cycle will keep on repeating every time. Okay. So these are the things we do basically in a project for testing levels. So you once you read this, you will understand on a testing perspective what we are going to do. Now the next section is roles and responsibility of each of the team member. Like person A, here I will mention my name, test manager, or let's suppose there is a test manager. So that name, test manager, what will be his responsibility? He will do the escalations. Escalations means communication between the team and to the client. Test manager will be responsible for updating each and every day status to the client, how the project is going on. Either it can be every day or it can be weekly. If client is busy, then the test manager schedules a meeting with the client on a weekly basis on whatever we as a testing team do in a in every week. That status test manager provides to the client. So this is the responsibility of a test manager. Now test lead, that name will be there. What he will do, he will create test plan and get the client sign off. He will interact with the applications. He will create and execute the test cases. He will report the defects. He will coordinate the test execution. He will verify and validate the defect being reported. That means, let's suppose a junior team member has raised a defect. So before raising the defect, their junior team member first of all will contact with the test lead to check whether the defect that he has found is correct or not. If lead approves, like yes, this is the correct defect, then the junior member or the team member who is working under the lead will go ahead and raise a defect. But without the permission of lead, he cannot raise any defect. So you can expect any questions like in your project, once when you found a defect, so what is the process you follow? So you will first say, first of all, we connect with our lead and we discuss the scenario. Like this is the reason why defect is coming. If lead accepts, like yes, this is a valid defect, please go ahead and raise it. Then we raise the defect. How we raise a defect, that I will explain you in the later class. And he will submit the daily issues or updates to the test manager or to the entire team via email. Every day, whatever we do, test lead will send an email at the end of the day to the test manager, to the test team members. Okay. And he will attend the meetings with the client. The test members do not directly connect with the client. Only the test lead and the test manager connects with the client. Now, after test lead, there will be some senior test members. He will interact with the application. He will create and execute the test cases. He will only report the defect. So, senior test engineer will only do this activity. Now, there are some junior members. He will do these activities. So, this will be the roles and responsibility of each and every member of a team. So, these details you will find here. Yes, smoke testing is the first testing of every build when we perform sanity testing. And I will explain you once and just now let's focus on the test plan. Slowly, we will move on each and every topic. Don't think too much because you will get confused. Just go with the pace of the class. And whatever I am explaining, if you have any doubt, then ask that doubt. Don't think about this will happen or that will happen. Then you will get confused. Okay. What am I explaining? First, and try to understand that and try to ask questions from that. I will cover everything. You do not need to worry about that. Once the class will be over, you will see I have covered each and everything. Now the notes. Under the notes section, I will mention like in this case, I am not going to do any automation, so automation will be out of scope. And similarly, if there are any other points to note, that I will also mention here in the notes section. Now there will be test environment. Test environment needs to set up. Test data should be available for testing. Smoke test cases should be created for smoke testing. And we will use Windows 10 and Chrome browser. So these are the details you will find in a test environment. On which environment you will work, on which Chrome browser you will work. There will be some smoke test pack. We should have data ready for doing the testing. Right? If testers are going to work, so for every 5 testers, 5 systems should be available. System means laptop or desktop. So these kinds of details you will find in test environment section. Now, which testing tool you will use? So for test scenario and test cases, we will use Excel sheet. For defect reporting, also we will use Excel sheet. So we are going to use Excel sheet for our first project. So these details we will find in our testing tools. Now release control, release management plan with appropriate version history that will make sure text execution for all the modification in that release. Release control means this is the versions that you are maintaining, that is basically known as release controls. And there will be so many documents. So are you maintaining the versions of each and every documents? Is all the versions of documents are available, latest or the past one? So these are the release controls. We should have, it is very required and it is must to maintain all the revision histories, all the versions of documents. Because client can ask anything. So you should have everything so that you can provide. You cannot ask them, it is currently not available, give us some time, then I will provide you. You cannot say such things. If you are saying such thing, it means you are not working correctly. You are not following the proper testing process. So it is very important to maintain the versions and all the different versions of the documents. Let's suppose this test strategy document has version 3. So you should have version 1 and version 2 also. So these are the sections you will find under the test strategy document, and the most important one is the test approach. Here, from here, we get to know like which kind of testing we are going to test, what will be the roles and responsibilities, what will be the testing environments, and which tools we are going to use. All these details we will find from this test strategy document. Now, again, I said this document is either created by a test manager or it will be either created by the test lead. We as a test member should only have to know what are the different sections in the test strategy and what are the things we get in it under different sections, so that if anyone asks us in an interview, so we can say these are the sections and these are the details we can get to know from a test strategy document. And every project follows their own test template, on template. This is a general template. In a project there will be different template, but template only will be different, but content, this contents will be same. Okay, so any doubt from test strategy document?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Just strategy document. We have created particular models only. So in the same time, in the company also prepare for the particular models, and will release model by model. Or for every for all model they prepare the test strategy. I don't know. Could you please explain? For you have created for some of the models like 6 or 7 things only this test strategy, but in company
Mhm.
like this type of only or for all models one test strategy document. Are you understand my question, Sunny?
Yeah, I am understanding. But it is not possible for any project to get to know like which kind of modules, means how many, means the total number of modules they are going to develop in an application, because an
Okay.
application keeps on enhancing. So right now you have 10.
Okay.
After 2 months, you will find there are five no new models they want to implement. So when they
Where?
implement new models, right? So then again, new version of test strategy document will be created.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
That is why we maintain versions. Currently, at this date, these things have been finalized. So those details you will find. Now in the next version, these details have been finalized. So that details you will find. So there cannot be a single test strategy document for a single project. If a project is going for a long time, it keeps on changing.
Okay, Sunny.
If the duration of this project is very small, like 1 or 2 months, then there will be only test strategy, one document. Okay. So these are the
Okay, Sunny.
documents that is important. Now, next one is from test strategy, we derive test plan document. So it will also have a revision history. So these details I have to modify, which I haven't modified it here. Then there will be an overview. Now it will have name as Luma. Then we have this will be your URL. So as a part of the project Luma, here you can write your name to test few functionalities of this web application. This document serves as the high-level test planning document with details of scope of the project. It will not include test strategy because test strategy we have created separately. Test schedule, resources, requirements, test deliverables, and schedules. So these details you will find under this document. So first one is the scope. In scope, same thing will be there, URL and the what are the modules you are going to test. In test environments, these details we got to know from the test strategy document. This environment we need for doing our testing. What will be the exclusions, like what we are not going to cover, automation part we are not going to cover, all the features except that are mentioned under inclusions, like whatever the modules are mentioned under here, only we are going to test this thing. If anything comes apart from that, that we are not going to test for the first round of testing. Any third party features like payment or gateways, that we are not going to test. So these are all will be decided by your project. You just have to read this document and try to understand like what we are going to test and what we are not going to test. So this decision will be taken by the client and your test manager, your test lead. There will be a mutual consent. After that, this document will be created. Now they will document everything, all the details. So you will be provided these documents so that you can go through it and you can understand what we are going to test, how you are going to test, on which environment, which tool you are going to use, and what you are not going to test. All the details you have just to have to go through and you have to understand. Now, what will be the defect reporting procedures? So that procedures you will find here. During the test execution, any deviation from expected behavior by the application will be noted. Any deviation in something which is not as per the requirement. If it can't be reported as a defect, it would be reported as an observation or issue, or it will be posed as a questions. Like I told you, we first of all we have to consult with the test lead in the form of observation. If they say like yes, this is a defect, then we will go ahead and we will raise a defect. Any usability issues will also be reported. Usability testing means for the blind person, partially disabled person also. This is a different level of testing. So this, as of now, we are not going to include in our scope. Now, after discovery of defect, it will be retested to verify the reproducibility of the defect, screenshots with each step. So whatever I am writing here, you are not a tester, so you will not understand because you are not working in any company. I am understanding, or some of you who have any knowledge of testing, then you can understand. But I know for you, those who are totally new, they will not understand anything whatever I'm reading here. But once I will complete one project, then you will understand everything, whatever it is written over here. So I would suggest let's first complete the first project, then you open these documents and then read. And definitely you will understand everything. So that is why I'm not wasting time over here. Then this part, test schedule, how the testing schedule will start, creating test plan. So from which date you have started this document and on which date you have ended creating of this document. Similarly for test case creation, when you have started, when it is ended. So for all we track the date, the time duration under the test schedule. What will be the test deliverables? Roles and responsibilities, the same thing you will find here, right? Test schedule, test deliverables, test plan. So you will provide a description, what you have done in the test plan and when it is completed. Similarly for functional test cases, whatever the test cases we have created, you will provide all the links of that test cases here and when it has been completed. So this part will be completed when you will complete your test cases process. So this part as of now will be blank. After once your all the test cases for the 5 modules are created, then you will provide a link of all the 5 modules test cases here, and then you will provide the completion date. If you have raised any reports, so that link also you have to provide here, right? Summary reports, so many things are there. Right now you won't understand. Now entry and exit pricing, like what will be the cost of this testing. So that is decided by the client and the test manager. So either it will be you will get to know or you will also not get to know. Like if they do not want to you guys to know, then they will not provide these details to you because this is a business, right? Let's suppose for a project they are charging 1,000 rupees, but they are paying like for each and every resource they are charging 1,000 rupees, but they are giving you salary only 200 rupees. So 800 rupees they are keeping. So this is their business. So this is how they earn the money in IT sector. For every resource they charge very high billing. Like for myself, if I say they charge very high, but they only give 20 to 30% of that. That is the business of IT sector. So that is why they will not provide these details to you. Now the entry and exit criteria of every phase. Requirement analysis, what will the entry criteria, what will be the exit criteria. Similarly for test planning, test designing, test execution, test closure. So this we have already seen in the STLC phase. So same thing is written over here in the form of entry criteria and exit criteria. So as of now, requirement analysis, what will be the entry criteria? The requirement documents. Requirement analysis, entry criteria, requirement documents, exit criteria. List of requirements are explored and are understood by the testing team and doubts are cleared, right? You have started analyzing the requirement document. After analyzing the requirement, you have understood all the requirements and your all the doubts are also clear. Who will clear your doubt? Business analyst. He will clear all of your doubts. So this will be your exit criteria. Like after this phase, You are totally aware of the requirement that you are going to test. You do not have any doubt. You are fully aware of what you are going to test. This part, now in the testing planning, what will happen? Your entry criteria will be the exit criteria of the first phase. And now what will be the exit criteria? You will create a test plan document and including a test strategy document. So as the exit criteria, you will find these documents in the test planning phase and it will be signed off by the client. Now, what is the sign off? Once these two documents are created, so it will be sent to the client via email to confirm whether this planning, these two documents that we have created are correct or not. They will review the document and they will reply back on the email in the form of sign off. We are happy with the document creation, whatever the details have been mentioned, you can go ahead for your further testing. So this is a confirmation email, which is known as sign off email. This communication happens. Whatever documents we create, we send it to the for the review to the client. They review, they confirm, then we move ahead further. So this is the meaning of sign off. So this test planning is done. We have seen the currently we are going through the test planning and test strategy document we have already seen. Now this phase is important. Its entry criteria will be the exit criteria of the first phase. And exit criteria, we will create a scenario and test cases. And this also will be signed off by the client. So up now we will move on to this phase. So I am not explaining this one. This one I will explain later when we will move on to this phase. Okay. After that, there will be suspension and resumption criteria. Like it may happen for some time, for some of the time, the flow of the like based on the client decision. Let's suppose there are some confusions with the requirement. So client will ask to stop currently the development and the testing part for some time. So it will be the suspension. And when client will give the approval, then it will again resume the process. So this kind of thing happens like for 1 or 2 days due to some complexity or due to the miscommunication. The project flow has been stopped for some time. Or there may be a scenario like ramp up and ramp down. Like suppose 5 testers are working. Suddenly one tester is saying they want to switch. He wants to switch to another company, or he falls sick for 14 days. So he has some assigned work to do. But if he falls sick and he takes a leave of 2 weeks, so his part will not be completed. Right. So this is a kind of suspension and resumption criteria that also occurs in a project. We also take leave. So if we take leave, then who will do our work? So that during that time, the work will be pending. And once you come back from your leave, then your work will start. So this kind of details you will also find in suspension and resumption criteria. Tools, which tools we are going to use? We are going to use Excel sheet, right? Risks and mitigation. Is there any risks? The risk can be any non-availability of resource. A resource is not available. We have a planning. We have planned like for 2 weeks, 5 resource will work, but after 1 week, one resource falls sick. So now for the next week, we have only 4 resources. So definitely it will be difficult to complete the work with the 4 resources. Same amount of work with the 4 resources. So this kind of risk can happen. So what is the mitigation? We will keep a backup resource. Like we will keep a 6th resource. Once 5th resource is not available, then 6th resource will come, will take his place and will start working. Or the 4th resource that is now available, they have to manage the work of the 5th resource. This is the mitigation of this kind of risk. One risk, it happens most of the time, like the build that is provided by the developer is not working for 2 hours, for 3 hours, or for 6 hours. So at that time, we won't be able to do any testing. So what will be the mitigation? Then resource will work on other tasks. If there are any other tasks that the testing team can manage during that 5 hours or 6 hours. So they will move on to that part and they will complete that tasks. Then another kind of risk can happen, less time for testing. Like client is in very hurry. He wants to test the entire thing in 1 week only. But we as a tester know we won't be able to achieve that. So the testing resources is low, but the time duration is less. So at that time, what will be the mitigation? We will hire more resources. Like from 5, we will hire 2 more resources, and then we will try to complete the work in 1 week. So this is the mitigation. So there can be say so many risks, and we also have to identify how we can mitigate the risk. So this kind of details you will find under risks and mitigation criteria. Approvals. So these are the documents for which we need approvals. These details you will find in test plan document. So as I said, this document, there is no use for us. It is only created. It basically these two documents gets created only for the client purpose. They want to monitor because they are the business team. They are not a technical person. So they want to monitor how we are progressing with our testing approach. What are the things we have considered and what are the things we haven't considered. So all those details we capture in these two documents. So these documents will give us the details, which process, which tool, which environment we are going to use for our testing, or what we will test, what we will not test. So for us, these two documents is required for this purpose only. These documents only test manager and test lead creates. We do not create. But right now you are a test member, but at one time you will be a test lead. Right? So you have means for the once you have joined the company, then they will no one will ask you. But after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you will reach to that position. So then you have to create these documents. But by that time, you will gain in 5 years, you will get so much experience so that you can easily create such documents. Initially, we will find it difficult, but slowly you will find it easy. So that confidence will come with experience. But initially, you do not have to create such documents. You just have to go through the documents and you have to understand each and every concept. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to your lead. He will explain you the meaning of this thing or that thing. Okay. So this is the test planning document. These are the different sections, and what you will find in different sections, that details are available. And I am totally understanding there will be so many confusions or you are not finding it interesting also. It happens with everyone, right? So just open these two documents once we complete one project and then see this recording of today, what I'm explaining. Then you will understand each and everything. Then you will relate. Oh, that is why I have explained this thing. That is why I have said this thing. So actually, this is happens. So currently, you are just understanding in a theoretical way. Once you see the practical, then you will start relating with the theoretical. So I understand there will be some doubts because this is something very new to you. It will take some time to digest. But I have given the understanding, the explanation. Recordings will be definitely available at any time. You can replay this and you can listen it again. Right. So I will provide these documents also after the class. Now let's take a break of 10 minutes. Now let's take a break for 5 minutes only. We have 7:30 already. So from 7:30, okay, let's take a break of 10 minutes. From 7:40, we will start again.